One thing I want to find out from Flex as well, right, is that if it was any other manager that had come in and produced what this guy's done so far, it'd be under pressure. Ruud van Nistelrooy is a little bit more or less done the same sort of thing at Leicester, isn't it?
Should they have stuck with Ruud?
And Ruud's getting cussed. They're saying, Leicester fans are saying that they want it. This guy's getting lucky at the moment, isn't it, Amorim? I mean, I know, listen, but no one's talking about him. He's very smart. I think he's smart with some of the things he's doing. Like, you know.
Long may it continue,
You're setting your stall out early, aren't you? If you say you're shit, then the only way is up.
Yeah, but you're supposed to get it out of that a bit, innit?
Look, we actually spoke about this yesterday a little bit with Amorim. Like, they are terrible, don't get me wrong, they are. But he's only been there a couple months. Like,
how many games has he won in that time in the league?
The issues at Manchester United
2,
are long before Ruben Amorim got there. You know, I agree. They haven't got the injuries and, like, they should still be able to pick up points. But what he's obviously trying to implement with that style of play, like the three at the back, he's been basically testing out players to see who can and can't fit into that system, who has a future at Manchester United, who doesn't. And I think that United fans, they're shit. But, like, at the same time, it's like you've got to allow him to rip it up, in the words of Flex. You know, you've got to allow him the time to do that. And I don't think you can pass a judgment on Amorim. You've got to give him a couple windows to sort things out. There's a lot of crap at Manchester United.
Is it as bad as they are, though? I know
they can be better, but they could. Of course, they could be better.
With the players they've got, should they be as bad as they are?
They seem to me
even now.
They seem to me that they're better against sides where they shouldn't probably do well, like whether that's against a Liverpool or an Arsenal or something in that way. Obviously, not the game when they played during the league. Maybe that was like second game in for Amorim, but there's games where they probably shouldn't do as well as they have been, and then actually it's the other teams that they struggle against. Whether that's a Southampton, they got, you know, if it wasn't for Ahmad having a worldie the other night, you know, they'd be mudded.
That was mad.
But it's those teams they need to look at. Obviously, Brighton are no mugs either, but it will be the lesser teams that they struggle against.
But the thing is that they're in a strange position because really, based upon the football that they've played over the last couple of years, when they play Bournemouth and Brighton, even at home, they should be parking a bus. They should be adopting the same tactics that they adopt against Liverpool, against Man City, or whoever it is, because their team is built to counter-attack. Their team is not built to out-football those teams that we're talking about. But because of the fact that they're at Old Trafford and there's pressure and they're big Manchester United, the biggest club in the world, that's what they say, there is a pressure and an expectation to go up against these sides and step out. They can't out-football these teams. They can't outplay these teams. They don't have the midfield to do it.
And it took 3 minutes. It was too easy. Yeah. And the Onana mistake, I mean, but I don't think I've ever seen one that bad.
They would get more results, by the way, if they parked it, though.
Wouldn't you say, though, right, if you haven't, for instance, right, if you, like, you're coming up against a Brighton, we all know Brighton, midfield, always good, lots of energy in there, Belabor, these sort of guys, you know what I mean, lots of legs in there. Why would you only have 2 in your midfield then? Isn't that asking for big trouble? If you're
trying to be attack-minded. That's the system, isn't it? But if he was to go to a 3-5-2 and go more defensive, people, they would get results that way. If you ask Brighton, all right, break down a low block, or ask Bournemouth, break down the low block, and we're going to break on you, that suits Manchester United.
But what, even like a 4-3-3 though, where you got 3 in midfield? It doesn't
play that way.
You can't. But is there...
Adapt.
But we saw these formations under Ten Hag. It's the same players at the end of the day. They're still crap.
And you say that, yeah, and that's why they are where they are. But when you look at the style of play that Amorim has brought in, yes, he's only been there 2 months. You've got to get your feet under the carpet a little bit. But, I mean, is there a lack of adaptation from the players to actually going out there and doing what he's asking of them? Or is it just that the players aren't good enough to do that?
It's like you said, it's like Matisse said, when they're coming up against teams like us, or they're coming up against teams like City, Liverpool, where they can sort of like park the bus and it's accepted by their fans because they know the position they're in. He's done okay. But I mean, is that 4 games now at Old Trafford he's lost?
Yeah. So 4 out of 5 now.
And then that game against Southampton, I'm telling you, Southampton should have been about 3-0 up at half time, right? And you just look at it and think, I don't know, man. It's
one shot on target, and that shot was the penalty
against Brighton. I mean,
Brighton are better than them. That's the thing.
That's why I knew Brighton would win.
Only by name are we surprised. By league performance, Brighton are higher in the table for a reason. They're a better team,
and they're a much better side.
I think this is part of the problem, right? All of us growing up knew Manchester United is Manchester United, like biggest club in the world, which they still are. But you have an expectation of Manchester United, the Manchester United way, how they play, and that's because of Sir Alex. Sir Alex has been gone, 10 years, 12 years now?
Yeah.
Manchester United have been shit since he walked out the door.
They were shit before he came, though.
But he was still managing to
They've had
win
2
leagues
good managers in their club's history.
Ferguson is their Roman? Because we get a lot of mocks for that, you know what I mean?
Different era, though. There was less money in the game. He came in '86 after winning the European Cup of Aberdeen, right? But before that, United were shit before Ferguson.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Are you saying that Ferguson?
No, because you still had a couple of good...
Because they had a 25-year period.
You still won trophies in the 90s, though.
So dominant and so successful and becoming Manchester United that we all know. That's why I think the problem is that our expectation of Manchester United hasn't dropped. Like, we still think of them as a United that we grew up with, but they're not that. They haven't been that for the last 10, 12 years. So it's actually... us, everybody else, the media needs to actually assess and drop your own expectations of Manchester United Football Club.
But they were like this last season. I said this last season. They didn't play well last season. They were in a false position for most of the campaign with the football they were playing. Then at some point, it started to catch up to them. They started to eventually drop to positions that they deserved to be in. But Manchester United really, on paper, they have been a mid-table team last season and
for a long
this season.
time, yeah.
So it's been 2 seasons straight of them performing like a mid-table team. But obviously, like I said, if you were a Man United fan, would you accept them playing a low block the same way they've played previously and counter-attacking at home to Brighton, at home to Brentford, if you knew that would get results? Because what you're talking about is Manchester United trying to get more results on the table, so they're not as bad as they are. Would you accept that though? If like,
I think if I
you're
was
in that position, would you want that?
I think I'd want I want to see some results. Just
Anyway.
just for the general spirit. You know what I mean? Just to, and then at the end of the season, then you can go and try and buy in some players. Listen, I'm being very harsh on Amorim, I guess, because he's only just come. It's not his fault that he's inherited the mess that Ten Hag. I mean, look now they're about
It's
to
not
send...
just Ten Hag, by the way.
Well, it's not just Ten
It's not
Hag,
just Ten Hag.
yeah.
It's a mess that has been created by the Glazers, also by Ineos have added to that in the summer when they should have got rid of Eric Ten Hag. They should have said, thank you very much for the trophies, but you're still not the right man to take us in that direction. They should never have given him more money to spend. They've got an utter load of shite. They are
Trash.
They are trash. They have got trash players, and I know what people are going to say, well, look at your own team. We're going to talk about my team. But I think that's the problem. They gave him even more money to spend. And then the resale value of all these players. I mean, the fact that Anthony is linked with a move to Real Betis is crazy.
He's gone.
Itself.
Here we go.
Well, there it goes. Here we go this morning.
Can't support Betis
but you're
anymore.
You're never going to recoup the money that was spent on him. No. It's like if they get rid of Xerxes, if they get rid of this one or that one, you're never going to recoup the money because they've spent ridiculously. And that is on the board. And that's giving Ten Hag or whoever was before that, Ole or whoever, it's fixing the messes and fixing the problems that have been created by being negligent at the top. And I can say that because I know the exact feeling of having a negligent board.
and I can say it because I've seen it as well at our club where you've got to rip it up. You've got to rip it up,
Flex
and there's so many players have got to go.
It's going to be fun.
Hold that,
How long do you think it's
Manchester
gonna take?
United. You sausages.
Look how long it's taken us just to get back competing. Like, it took like nearly 3 years just to even and I think he did well to compete in that
Because
time.
he did
right?
skip a step, really, isn't
Yeah,
it? Fifth to
because
second.
right, because I'm saying, man, like from where they are at the moment, they lack a lot of quality, and it's not easy to get rid of some of them. I mean, they played Xerxes up front. He was dreadful at them, right? Hoyland's not
Awful.
When you think of the players they've had up front, like Rooney and
Rashford's
people like
exiled out the squad.
Rashford, he's basically said Rashford's gone, isn't he? He's completely exiled him. He's basically said, yeah, go and don't come back. So
They
there's
just lack individual quality. There's just none. Like in a top team, if the system and the squad is not mirroring each other or it's not in sync, and all else fails, there should be a little bit of individual quality in that team to say, right, that player can get me out of jail, or those two players can save us.
It's been Bruno, really. It's been the
Diallo and that's it, really.
Ahmad and Bruno.
Yeah, that's really it.